Hello, and welcome to another episode of a Seven Story Podcast. And this time we have someone that we should have had last week, but apparently the fates would not have that. So we have Arlo Graves, who is a fantasy author. And go ahead and introduce yourself. Take it away.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. So I'm Arlo's Van Graves, and I write fantasy and horror that overlap. And my debut just came out on the 7th, and it's called Black Rose. Really
All
excited.
right. Nice, nice. All right. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like what do you like to do outside of writing? What's a day in the life like for you?
So first of all, I'm a vampire. I'm extremely sensitive to sunlight. Like, legit, sunlight makes me very sick. I have an autoimmune condition, and so I'm lucky to live in the woods, but I generally go out in the evening, and I love to go hiking. I play the ocarina, like from Legend of Zelda. Um, and I have a dog and a bird. So
Okay.
they occupy a lot of my life, and I love them.
Okay. Oh man, so I didn't know we were doing interview with a vampire too. I would have put on my
Unfortunately.
best. I would have put on my best journalism outfit.
I know. I dropped the ball. I'm wearing this like alpaca sweater. I should have worn like something really creepy.
Oh man, I'm like, well, good thing we're on StreamYard and not in person, or else I might be in trouble.
I don't generally bite.
Uh,
Generally speaking.
Generally, okay.
For the most
Alrighty.
part.
So, what inspired your, debut novel? Like, what was the thing that got you into writing in the first place?
So the thing that got me into writing in the first place was God, I come from a really like storyteller heavy background. I couldn't read until I was a teenager. And so my mom used to like go to the library and get books and read to me and read to me. And then my dad's a storyteller. And every day on the way to school, we live in a rural area, so the drive to school was like 30 minutes. He would make up these absolutely amazing sci-fi stories about creatures that lived on Mars to tell me. And so I was kind of surrounded by stories, and I really wanted to tell my own stories. But then my debut specifically, it's it's kind of an homage to my 17-year-old self, but also a gift for my dad. Because when I was a teenager, the
Right.
absolutely cringe movie Van Helsing came out. And for
Ah,
some reason, I cannot explain why, but for some reason, I loved that movie. And I also loved the movie Tombstone. So, like, I don't know what this says about me as a person, but I wrote Van Helsing / Tombstone fan fiction.
okay,
And
got you.
it was so stupid. But for some absurd reason, my dad loved it. I don't know why, but he loved my 17-year-old self's fan fiction. And it was called Black Rose because there was this cursed revolver called the Black Rose, and Van Helsing
Right.
was trying to get it and destroy it or something. And it's so cringe. But my dad would always ask me, he'd say, when are you going to write the Black Rose? Every time I'd have a writing or publishing milestone, he'd be like, that's cool, but when are you going to write Black Rose? And he's like, when are you going to do it? And then in 2020, our community went through a massive wildfire, and my
Mm,
parents actually fought the fire on the property, and the fire crew were able to stop the fire literally 15 feet from my door. I live in like this old cabin. It's very like it's like the place that people in horror movies go into to die. But
yeah.
my my parents fought the fire right there, and they have a fire hose because we live in the
Right.
woods. And my
Yeah.
dad held water over our cabin while the fire crews did a back burn, and he was 70 years old when that happened, and
Wow.
I was just like, I want to do something for him. I want to
Right.
give him a gift that somebody else, like, it's just something unique. And so one day I was walking around and I'm like, I'm gonna write the Black Rose for him.
Right.
That's how it happened.
Okay, got you. It's like, oh man, just dad being a dad. He's like,
Yeah, he's such a dad.
oh man, so she may be a vampire, but she's my daughter. God damn it.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh man. Oh, all right. That's a nice, nice. Now, regarding the Van Helsing, are you talking about the Hugh Jackman Van Helsing or
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
female? Oh, okay, okay. All right, we're talking about Van Helsing here. All right. Just wanna
Hugh Jackman
clarify.
all the way. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Okay, just want to clarify because there was a new Van Helsing, but it's like a remake of like a female Van Helsing, and I'm just like, okay, like
No, definitely the super special Hugh Jackman Van Helsing Transylvania. I have to say, I listened to the soundtrack while writing, and that soundtrack, the movie might be cringe, but the soundtrack slaps.
okay. Oh man, I never really pay attention to the soundtracks. Nah, but
It's
I used to
really
watch that movie
good.
a lot when I was a kid, though.
It's
Like Van Helsing, especially with the part with the Dracula. The Frankenstein was like this, like and he
yeah,
just he just
yeah.
walks through like is like I'm already dead, and then he just like rips into Frankenstein, and then he's like oh yeah
Yeah.
that oh yeah that was a good movie. Need more of those.
So
so so how do you come up with characters for your novel? So are they spontaneous or meticulously planned?
it's kind of, it depends on the story. Sometimes if I'm writing a shorter piece, I think about like, what is this about? What kind of a thing? What am I trying to say with this story? And I'll kind of fit characters in as appropriate. But for longer pieces where I get to let my imagination off the leash a bit more, I would say they're kind of vibe based. I put on music and I just like play the mental movie theater for myself and let them kind of create themselves. And I think like, who are these people? What's their soundtrack? What are they up to? But then like I'm the kind of person who I do a lot of rewrites, and the characters really come together usually in a later draft. Like earlier we get a lot of probably not particularly realistic behavior and placeholder scenes, but when I'm probably in like the eighth or ninth rewrite, then we start seeing them become people.
Right.
So I wouldn't say I meticulously plan my characters. I would say I try, but then they kind of remake themselves into what they need to be.
Right, got you. 8 rewrites? Oh my god.
Oh,
I can't.
I do more than that. Black Rose, I think, had over 20 because I like to go in and just like, I don't know, I overwrite. So I'll make things way longer than they need to be, and then it's like, all right, we need to cut, we need to cut, we need to cut.
Okay, but yeah. Man, 20 rewrites? Oh my god. I just me, I'm somebody that doesn't have to want to do anything more than twice.
I envy that though. Like I envy that. My early drafts are not good.
Right. I mean, if I had to do it more than twice, I'm like, you know what? I think I might need an editor. I'll,
Oh
I'll
yeah.
just get professional help and just like, look, just take it away because I'm not gonna sit here and do this 20 times. Like let's get this going. Tell me where I need to move, and I'll do it. I went to college, so I'm good at taking feedback and then incorporating it, and then that's it. Oh man, even doing a research paper more than once. I'm like a second draft. What are you talking about? First draft, just give me my 90 so I can move on. All right, like, I got time.
Right. I know. I don't really know how I ended up like that. I think I'm just like my early drafts are very sloppy, and I do a lot of rewriting on my own, and then I do work with editors and I do a lot of rewriting after their feedback. So there's a lot of rewriting in my
Oh
case.
man, I don't know. Like that's I commend you for like sticking to it. But me, I like anything more than twice.
It's kind of my favorite part, honestly. Like once we get past the initial "this is terrible" drafts, then I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't know, I'm really into it. I get to like care about word choice and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
I
it's
got you.
definitely not for everyone.
Yeah. Oh my God. Okay. So, what are some of your favorite genres to read? And are there any books you recommend to first-time readers or people looking for something new?
Yeah, so I read, gosh, I read a lot of different genres. I would think right now, off the top of my head, a book that I want to recommend just across the board is The Real Valkyrie, and it's the hidden history of warrior women in the Viking Age.
Hmm.
It's nonfiction, but it alternates between a fiction narrative and then like a nonfiction archaeological explanation. It's so good. It's sort of peeling back the layers of Viking era history and showing the women and the queer people, and it's just so cool.
Okay.
It was
Yeah.
super inspiring.
Yeah. Like there's something about historical accounts like that. It's kind of
Yeah,
because you can tell the fictional parts because they're trying to put the pieces together so it makes sense. But then
yeah,
they throw in the facts to like, all right, this is what actually happened, and then they'll try to interpret like what the people may have been thinking and where route they may have been going and things like that. So yeah, I like a good historical account, but got to be in the right mood for it. Not
yeah.
just go read.
Yeah, I think fiction wise, recently I enjoyed The Growing Darkness by Sean Gregory. It's dark fantasy. That was really cool. Ooh, and I loved Camp Damascus by Chuck Tingle. That was also very cool.
Well, okay, all
I'm
right,
I'm a
take
really slow I'm a very slow reader, so I feel like I'm always playing a game of catch up, but those are two one horror, one dark fantasy that I really enjoyed recently.
Okay, got you. I mean, yeah, everybody reads at their own pace. I don't know, like, I wouldn't. If I'm reading slowly, that means I'm really not enjoying the book, or I probably read it before and I can take my time. But if
Yeah.
I if I like a book, oh yeah, I'll devour it and like I'll spend the whole day reading it.
Oh, I'm envious. I'm very dyslexic, and so
Okay.
like words on the page. For some reason, my brain wants to read the space around them first, so that's what I see instead of the words. So it's a process. If I can listen, that's a different story. But I do really like to read in a physical book.
Gotcha. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, physical books is just like I don't know. It's like I bought a lot of physical books back in the day, but like I switched over to the Kindle, just for efficiency. Like, all right, because
Yeah,
moved around a lot, so it's like, well, I don't really have a permanent place yet. So if I start buying books, where I'm gonna put them? It's just like,
yeah, yeah. E-readers are fantastic. I get a lot of books from the library. I love having a library card.
oh yeah, oh yeah, that's also efficient. You can just take the book, read it, send it back. You
Yeah.
know, oh my god. All right, so what's the most? This will probably be an easy question to answer. So, what's the most difficult thing about being a writer, in your opinion?
I keep yo-yoing around on what the most difficult thing might be. Pitching is very hard. Um, Self-marketing, like writing those taglines and then like pitching to agents or publishers. That has been a very interesting journey, and I've had to step so far out of my comfort zone. I ended up selling Black Rose during a live pitching event. I was at a convention and I got to go up to the publisher and I had to look this person in the eye and give them my absolutely unhinged pitch for this book. And he thought about it and he said, I'd like to know more about that. And so I'm really glad that I took that risk, but that aspect is so hard. I'm so glad that I'm learning how to do it and that I'm making myself get out of my comfort zone.
Right.
But oh my goodness, it is uncomfortable. And the other thing is, I am very intimidated by creating like short form video video content like you might see on TikTok or Instagram Reels. I am so intimidated. I don't know how to video edit, but I just downloaded editing software, so I'm going to give it a go.
Okay, okay. I mean, well, creating video content is not as hard as, some people would imagine.
I really
It's
hope not. I'm so
Yeah, I mean,
scared.
because like especially on Instagram, it does a lot of it for you. It's just a matter of, just playing with the interface and just getting used to what you're seeing on the screen. It's like
Yeah,
once you get that, then oh yeah, you'll be fine. No, I'm confident you'll be fine. I mean, like
that's so good to hear.
I've seen your website. I'm like, you'll be fine. No, don't worry about it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I am intimidated.
Yeah, you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Okay, okay. So the marketing aspect. Okay. So what's your process? I mean, you went into it a little bit, the previous question, but like, what is your definitive process to completing a work from outline to final product?
Well, again, it changes depending on the type of project I'm working on. I love to work in different lengths. At this point in my career, I'm probably the strongest doing a short story, at which case I
Okay.
usually do a scene by scene outline breakdown, and then I tend to write anywhere from 1,000 to 2,500 words a day and just go through and do a scene at a time until I have a draft, and then I'll let it rest. Everything has to rest, and then I'll go back through and kind of let my imagination go and change things up if I think they need change, rearrange. And then of course the million rewrites. But for longer projects, I'm finding that I'm tending to write from the middle outward,
Okay.
which seems strange, but I kind of need to see I kind of need to put myself in the middle of the story and get a feeling for what the characters are feeling and what the world feels like, and then I can do the beginning and the end. And generally speaking, I know the end of something before I start. But best laid plans, I can do a complete outline, and then I'm partway through, and I'm like, gotta throw it out and start over, new outline. So
Oh
I'm
man.
definitely still learning my process, but it's a many step process.
Okay, I got you. I got you. Well, shameless moment here. What caught my attention was you saying that you're strongest at short stories. Luckily, we're a publishing company that specializes in short stories. So if you have one that you'd like to submit, feel free. Uh,
Ooh, I will
yeah.
do that.
So yeah. So
I
I
have
got.
one that's looking for a home. My goodness, guess what I'm doing when this interview's over?
Hey, look. Hey, look, whatever short story you may have, I guarantee we find a place for it. We
I mean,
publish
don't don't
almost we
don't
publish almost
guarantee
every
that.
time.
You might get it. You might look at it and be like, "Oh no."
Uh, don't worry, we publish almost every genre. So like we got like 7 magazines, so we'll find a place. So
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'll send it over.
alrighty. So that's out of the way. Oh man. But yeah. And starting from the middle outwards, I think I've seen that. I think I've seen that one place before. I don't know who the author was, but there was a prologue. There was a like a warning or like a disclaimer. Like the book starts from page like 147, and then they said,
Hmm,
"Oh, this is intentional." So I think that might have been something similar to what you're saying, like someone literally starting from the middle of the story and then
oh, that's so
backtracking and then
interesting.
kind of uh, going into it. I don't know what book it was or who the author was that did it, but I think it was in a
That's so
Facebook group.
interesting.
Yeah, but I don't know if I could do that. Like me, my brain has to like it has to be in order. Like yeah, I can have the ending, I can have the middle, but if I don't have the beginning, yeah, we're not going anywhere else. How does this start? Once you get that, okay, cool, we can go. you know.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm like that, but like Black Rose, I started it, and then the beginning of the book that's actually in the book isn't the beginning that I originally wrote.
Right.
That's happened with several other projects. Like the beginning will end up being something completely different than what I actually wrote initially. But yeah, I
Okay.
don't know. It really depends on the project.
Right.
I have a novel coming out from Quills and Cosmos in May, and that one I just wrote beginning to end, front to back, and
Right.
it went through some developmental edits where things got moved around, but it more or less I wrote it chronologically, and then the sequel I'm writing almost back to front, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm like this.
Oh wow.
Oh no, I don't know why I'm like this.
I mean, hey, I don't know. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's just, it's a you thing. Like it's just that's how you do it. Sometimes your brain just like, all right, let's do this in order. And
Yeah.
then the next time is just like, yeah, we're gonna start from the end, then we're gonna go to the beginning, then we're gonna go to the middle, and then we're gonna go like 3/4 of the way through the beginning right here, and then we're gonna play around with this point. You won't know what's going on at this point right here, but it will probably be something important, and then we're gonna hold up back to the end, and then we're gonna go like 0.75 pages back, and it's like, what, what, you know. Like, have your editors like ever just looked at it and been like, as your like, I'm asking you this as like, your friend, what are you doing? Has that ever happened to you? Like,
Like the editors like look at it out of order. No, normally I give it to the editors in order. Was that
okay,
the right?
got you.
Yeah, it's me. Like when I'm doing it early, I have this totally out of order, insane. I have 5 different Word documents open with different pieces that I'm shuffling around. It's pure chaos. But my
Oh my.
editors will get something that I've at least rewritten a few times.
Okay, okay, got
It
you.
might still be a disaster, but they'll get something that at least has a beginning, a middle, and an end in the right
Okay,
order.
they're like, they'll get something with order in it, but I
Yeah,
can't guarantee.
I feel like if I gave them something mid my process, they'd be like, "Oh no, absolutely not. Take that
All
back.
right, they're like,
What are you doing?"
yeah. Oh man, that's woo. That'd be a doozy. That'd be a funny conversation. Like,
Yeah, they'd be like, "Arlo, are you drunk? What is this?"
yeah, like, hey Arlo, what's up? Did you send me a wrong document or something? Like,
Oh yeah,
this
this this is not a story. This is chaos.
all right. All right. So, what's the most unhinged thing you've written in your novel? Don't worry, we don't judge here.
The
Like,
most unhinged. I have to say that the most unhinged things have probably been edited out and put in my spare idea folder. But in I think Black Rose is just pretty unhinged from page 1 all the way through. That's kind of the vibe. It's Weird West.
okay,
I don't even like I'm so used to it now. I've worked on that story for so long. Everything seems so normal, but I think Talking Guns is pretty weird. That's pretty
mm,
unhinged. The
oh,
guns talk. Um,
right,
the silver comes out of the ground like mercury and infects people.
yeah,
Machines come to life. I don't know. I don't even know if any of that's unhinged. Like I said, I've been in that world for such a long time that just seems perfectly normal.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Just a talking revolver, like,
yeah, I yeah, it just seems totally normal because, like, you read Sword and Sorcery and like the swords talk periodically, and it's just totally normal. But for some, like, when I first had a talking revolver, I was like, well, that's unhinged. But now it seems perfectly normal.
yeah. Hey, yo, Wes,
I just
point me at him so I can bust a cap in his ass.
Yeah, exactly. And
Like,
like
what?
I I write so many different genres and just try so many experiments that I don't know. I think the unhinged is becoming more and more hinged for me
Yeah.
the longer I go and the more things I try.
Yeah. Like you'll listen to somebody else's story, they're like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty unhinged, isn't it?" She's like, "Yeah, you know, I mean, like, did that come from your journal? Like, what are we doing?" All right. So, what's one thing about being a writer that just drives you up a wall? Like every time you get to that point, you're just like, "Oh boy."
Drives me up a wall.
Hmm.
That's a hard one because I really love the process and
Right.
I love working with other people. I'm even starting to love the social media aspect. That used to really discourage me, but I'm even starting to like get used to that. And like right now I would be like I would say like the book talk scene drives me up a wall because I'm intimidated to try it, but I'm gonna make myself try it just to like see if I can find a good vibe and let myself be bad at it and
Right.
learn something from it. So I don't know, like you know what, getting interrupted. I'm gonna say that getting interrupted when I'm like in the process of writing something or drafting or editing, if I'm doing it and somebody's like, "Hey, you need to go do this thing," that drives me up a wall.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, I can see that. That's it. Like for someone that writes, unhinged, that's the most normal thing that drives you up a wall.
Yeah. Yeah, just being in the zone, getting things done, and then something's like, "Oh, you gotta." I don't know what the thing would be like. I don't know. You got to go do the recycling or something. It's the recycling bins are too full. Got to go do the recycling. And I'll be like,
Right.
oh my god. Okay.
Yeah, just like
Yeah,
you
and
just get up and
I'm trying my best to get around that. I have a very detailed schedule that I follow, so I try to make sure that all of my life things, like doing the recycling, are nice
right.
and scheduled, so that I'm not interrupting myself.
Right, right. Gotcha, gotcha. All righty. So we'll skip to the last question. One give you time to promote yourself. So describe your writing journey. If you had to write a story centered around it, do you think you could pull it off?
I think so. I've definitely touched on it in a blog post. I was a guest on. I'm blanking on the name. She was a lovely author. I want to say it was Deborah Ross, but please don't quote me on that. I don't have my
Right,
glasses on and I can't read my notes without my glasses, but I think it was
right.
Deborah Ross.
Okay.
I touched on it there. Um, the wildfire was like a huge driving force in breaking into my professional career because my first professional sale was a short memoir about the wildfire, and being able to put that on my resume opened doors. But yeah, I think I could write a story about it because like I couldn't read. I'm very dyslexic. I use a lot of adaptive technology to make the actual writing happen, but I gotta tell stories. I gotta tell my weird, cuckoo, bonkers story.
Right.
So I find a way to do it. Um, yeah, I don't know if it's a story that I would like want to tell necessarily framing myself as a protagonist or like telling a story about my writing journey, but I think I could if I had to. But I'd probably find a way to make it about something else, something more interesting than me.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, so that is a wrap for the interview. I'd like to thank you for coming down, but I want to give you the opportunity to kind of promote yourself and tell people where you are and where they can find your work and all the latest updates and things of that nature. So that being said, take it away.
Hey, thank you so much again for having me. This was super fun. It's fun to just jump on and talk about writing stuff. So I'm Arlo Z Graves. You can find me at arlozgraves.com. I'm Arlo Graves everywhere. You might look for writers, except for X and Facebook. I'm not on those places. You can't entice me back to Facebook. I'm mostly active on Threads. You should totally drop by and say hi. I don't bite usually. No promises.
Alrighty. And that's a wrap. To the one person that was in and out, we love you. And we'll see you in the next interview. And see you on the flip side. All right.